I never stayed in one place for too long. It gets dull, and I love to explore new places and meet different people. It's a good life, most of the time. When I need cash, I pick fruit. In Europe, you can find fruit to pick almost all year round. You just have to be in the right country at the right time. It's not easy work, but the pay is decent. I prefer to go south in the winter. Life is easier in the warmth, and Northern Europe can be really cold during that season. Last year, in 1989, I spent October in Florence. I worked at a hotel for 3 weeks, and then I started to move south slowly. I always take the train when I can. I enjoy trains. You can walk around and meet lots of people. I left Florence and headed to Trieste. There, I bought a cheap ticket for the slow train to Sofia in Bulgaria. This train travels through Yugoslavia and takes a long time, about a day and a half, but that didn't bother me. The train left Trieste at 9 on a Thursday morning. At first, there weren't many passengers, but as we reached Zagreb, more people boarded. 2 girls walked down the corridor past my carriage. They peeked through the door, but didn't come in. Then an old lady entered, sat down, and quickly fell asleep. The 2 girls returned to our carriage and looked inside again. After the train left Zagreb, I gazed out the window for about 10 minutes before I fell asleep. When I opened my eyes again, the 2 girls were sitting in the carriage. They seemed friendly. So I said hello. "Hi," they replied. "You're American, right?" One of the girls asked. "No, I'm Canadian," I replied. "Really? American," the taller girl said, smiling. "You're 23. Your name is David. You have blue eyes, and your mom lives in Kingston, Canada." "Wow, how did you know all that?" I asked, surprised. The second girl laughed and said, "We saw your passport. It's in your coat pocket." "Oh, right." My coat was on the seat next to me. I took my passport out of my pocket and put it back in my bag. "So, who are you?" I asked. "We're Melanie and Carol from Los Angeles, USA." They said they loved Europe and mentioned many countries they had visited: Britain, Holland, Denmark, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, and Greece. "I'm heading to Bulgaria now," I said. "I'll be there for about a month. Then I'm going south for the winter, maybe Cyprus or North Africa." "Oh yes," they exclaimed. "We love Bulgaria. Sofia's a fantastic city." "What do you do for money?" I asked. "Well, sometimes we find a little work here and there," Carol said with a smile. "But what about you?" "Yeah, come on, David. Tell us about yourself," Melanie urged. I shared my story with them. They were nice girls, probably around 27 or 28. But I enjoyed talking with them. We chatted and laughed for hours. I shared many tales from my life, some true, some not, but they found me interesting and called me a great guy. Curious about Bulgaria, I asked them questions since I had never been there. "Hey, Carol," Melanie said. "We'll be in Bela Palanca for a day or two, but let's meet up in Sofia this weekend with David." "Sure," Carol said. "We can meet on Saturday night at Hotel Central. It's a great hotel, cheap but nice." "Great," I replied. Let's do that. The train was very slow. We arrived in Belgrade at 6 p.m., and many people got off. Only the three of us remained in the carriage. Then a conductor came in, checked our tickets, and left. Carol looked at Melanie. "Hey, Mel," she said. "Why don't you and David go to the restaurant? I'm not hungry. I want to rest for a bit." "Food is very expensive on the train," I said. "I don't have much money right now. I'll find a job in Sofia." "Oh, come on, David," Melanie said. "You're a nice guy. We have enough money this week. We can treat you to a meal." "Of course," Carol added. "We'll take you to the best restaurant in Sofia. It's a great place." What could I say? I was hungry, and they had money. So, Melanie and I went to the restaurant and enjoyed a meal together. When we returned, Carol was still in the carriage, resting. Melanie stretched her feet out on the seat and fell asleep. More people boarded the train, and two older men entered our carriage. They looked at Melanie's feet on the seat and started talking loudly. Carol laughed, and Melanie woke up, sitting up straight. "Are we almost there?" she asked. Carol looked out the window and said, "Yeah, in about half an hour." "Why are you getting off in Bella Palanca?" I asked. "What will you do there?" Melanie smiled. "We'll find a cheap hotel, meet some people, and check out the town for a day or two," she said. "But there's not much there," I said. "Well, you never know," Melanie laughed. "See you in Sofia." "Right. On Saturday night at Hotel Central, okay?" Carol said. "Don't forget," I replied. "Okay, see you there." The train arrived in Bella Palanca, and the two girls stepped off. They smiled at me through the window. "Saturday at 8, Melanie shouted. "Okay," I called back. But they couldn't hear me because of the noise at the station. They smiled again, picked up their bags, and walked away. Nice girls, I thought. I would have a great time in Sofia. The train left Yugoslavia and crossed into Bulgaria at 2 a.m. It then stopped at a village I couldn't remember the name of. I ate an apple and looked out of the window. Suddenly, a lot of policemen came into the train. Everyone in the carriage sat up and started talking. "What's going on?" I asked an old man beside me in Italian. "I don't know," he replied in broken Italian. "Maybe they are looking for someone." I watched as the police took some people off the train. The two policemen entered our carriage, a tall thin one and a short fat one. They looked at everyone closely and then turned their attention to me. "Come with us, please," the fat policeman said in English. "What? Me?" I asked, confused. "Why? What's wrong?" "Bring your bag with you," the tall policeman said. I started to ask a question, but policemen don't like questions from young men with long hair, so I stayed quiet. I grabbed my bag and went with them. In the station building, more policemen and some young people from the train were waiting. Some looked scared, while others seemed bored. The police searched everyone's bags, and then the people returned to the train. My two policemen took me to a table. "Your passport, please," the fat policeman said, "and open your bag." They looked at my passport, and I opened my bag. There was a young policewoman with red hair at the next table. She had a nice face, so I smiled at her, and she smiled back. Suddenly, the tall policeman said, "What's this?" He pulled out all my dirty clothes and shirts from my bag and dumped them on the table. The policeman tipped my bag over, and packets of US dollar fell out. Nice. New $50 notes in big bundles. My mouth dropped open, and I lost my voice. Suddenly, I was a very interesting person. A lot of police rushed to our table and gathered behind me. $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, the tall policeman exclaimed. There's $200,000 here. Finally, I found my voice again. But that's not my bag, I shouted, shocked. The policeman grinned widely. Well, it has your name on it. Look. I looked, and of course, there was my name. And yes, it was my bag. So how did $200,000 get into my bag? I asked. You cannot bring US dollars into this country, the fat policeman said. He had very short gray hair and tiny black eyes, and he didn't smile once. But I didn't bring them, I protested. They're not my dollars. I've never seen them before in my life. There was a lot of noise in the station. I glanced out the window and saw my train slowly starting to move. Hey, wait, that's my train, I yelled. The tall policeman laughed. It was a great day for him. Oh no, you're not getting back on that train. You're staying here with us in our lovely country, he said happily. So I never made it to Sofia that Saturday, and I was very upset about it. I wanted to talk with Melanie and Carol and ask them a few questions. You're a nice guy, David. See you in Sofia, okay? We'll take you to the best restaurant in town. But I never got to go to Cyprus or North Africa.